Hey guys, sorry that I can't be in class today. I have a really important meeting with Mrs. Rasmussen, but I will be back tomorrow. This video should get you guys all the information that you need to be successful on your practice problems for tonight. What we're building on is a little bit more than what we did on Tuesday. On Tuesday, we saw double number lines for the first time. And so today we are actually going to work on creating our own double number line diagrams. And I think you guys will really like these and they'll be very helpful for you as you're solving some practice problems in the future. So let's just warm up with a single number line and practice ordering different numbers on there. So you see that we have a number line from 0 to 2. The first thing that I like to do is always try and cut it in the middle. So I know that 1 is halfway in the middle, so I like to add in that halfway point. Then I can look at my different fractions up here and decide where they go. Okay, I know that a half is approximately, well, it is exactly in the middle between 0 and 1. So I'll find the middle there. Then 1/4, if I think of 1/4 as a quarter, 25 cents is half of 50 cents. So that's going to go in the exact middle between 0 and a half. 1 3/4, I can think of that as $1.75, which is pretty close to 2. So I'm going to draw that over here. Then I have a few decimal numbers as well. I have 1.5, which is like $1.50. That would be exactly in the middle between 1 and 2. And 1.75 is the exact same thing as 1 3/4, so I'm just going to label it like this. Okay, we are going to skip number 2 and go down to the first activity. It says the other day we made green water by mixing 5 milliliters of blue water. I'm going to get my blue pen for you guys. And 15 milliliters of yellow water. We'll do that in green. We want to make a very small batch that is the same shade. So we need to know how much yellow water to mix if we only have 1 milliliter of blue water. Okay, so blue and yellow, we're going to make in those two colors. And this is the original ratio that we were given. And we see that we have these other tick marks here that we could label. Remember, when we're setting up double number lines, the tick marks have to be exactly in the same location. So I'm going to draw these on the yellow line in the same spots where they are on the blue line. Then I can go ahead and number these since there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It looks like they're counting by ones. So I'm going to label them there. So now we need to figure out what these would be. Well, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I know that 5 times 3 is 15, so these must be counting by 3s. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Okay, so first we labeled the 4 tick marks shown, and then for the yellow water we drew and labeled tick marks to show the amount of yellow water needed. So we did number 1, we did number 2. Now they ask us how much yellow water should be used for 1 milliliter of blue water. By using our double number line, we can look at our tick marks and see that 1 and 3 are in the same location. So that would be an equivalent ratio. So for 1 milliliter of blue water, we would need 3 milliliters of yellow water. Then it asks us how much water would be used for 11 milliliters. So we have 10 here, so if we add a tick mark and label it 11, we would need to add 1 tick mark down here. Remember, we're counting by 3s below, so that would put us to 33. So we would need 33 milliliters of yellow if we used 11 of blue. All right, when you're ready, you can flip the page. I'm going to keep this here just so that we have it as a reference. Okay. It says how much yellow water should be used for 8 milliliters of blue water. So we could draw tick marks on here. So 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 18, 21, 24, 27, and 30. So for 8 milliliters of blue water, that would be 24 milliliters of yellow. And now they want to ask us, why is it useful to know how much yellow water should be used with 1 milliliter of blue water? So I want you to think about that for a second. Why would that be helpful information? So if we know that 1 milliliter of blue goes with 3 milliliters of yellow, we can use this information to help us solve any amount, because all we have to do is multiply any blue amount times 3 to get an equivalent ratio. And as you can see, that's because we're counting by 3s and we multiply by 3. Alrighty, I'm going to get that page out of the way now. We will be moving on to activity 2. And for activity 2, you're going to need a plain white piece of paper. So go ahead and pause the video and go grab a piece of paper and a ruler from the counter. Bring those back when you are ready. Okay, so you should have a plain white piece of paper and a ruler. On your paper, it says that a recipe for pasta says that for every 2 pints of water, we need to mix in 8 cups of water. So we have a ratio of 2 water to 8 flour. All right. It says follow the instructions to draw a double number line diagram representing the recipe of art pasta. Number 1 says to use a ruler to draw 2 parallel lines. So we can set our ruler straight on our paper. And if we trace the top side of our ruler and the bottom side of our ruler, we now have 2 parallel lines for our double number line. Okay. Our directions say to label the first line pints of water. And the second line, cups of flour. So we go back to our paper here. So we did 1, we did B. Now it says draw at least 6 equally spaced tick marks that line up on both lines. So I like to always start with 0. 1 tick mark, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so make those as equally spaced as you can. If you want to, you can use your ruler and use the inches. I'm pretty close to here, I'm not exact. You can use the inches to make your tick marks if that is helpful. All right, then it says along the water line, label the tick marks with the amounts 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it says label the tick marks with the amount of water in 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 batches of art. So in the first batch, there would be 2 water. So then in batch 2, there would be 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12 in batch 5. And along the flour line, label our tick marks as well. So there's 8. So then we're going to count by 8s. 16, 24, 32, 40, and 48. So we have completed number 1. Now it says to compare your double number line with a partner, discuss your thinking, and if needed, revise your diagram. We're going to skip that since you made your diagram with me. I'm going to save you a little bit of time. So don't worry about doing number 2. Next, you're going to use your double number line to answer these questions. How much flour would be used in 8 pints of water? So if we find pints of water and go over to 8, we can look on our second number line to see that 32 cups of flour is what we would need. Make sure that we include labels. This is how much water should be used with 24 cups of flour. Now if we go to cups of flour and we go to 24, circle our tick marks, we see that we would need 6 pints of water. How much flour per a pint? The word per means the amount for 1. So how much flour would be in 1 pint of water? So if we go back to our number line here, they want to know how much for 1 pint of water. So could we add in our own tick mark here? So since 1 is half of 2, we can take 8 divided by 2. So there would need to be 4 cups of flour for 1 pint of water. We'll be working on that more in the future, so don't worry too much if that is still a little bit tricky. All right, we are going to skip the "Are you ready for more?" so you can cross that off. Remember, you should be pausing and rewinding the video, especially when we made the double number line, in case you missed anything important or just want to listen to how it was made again, because you're going to have to create many double number lines in the future. Okay. Last activity says the tuna casserole. So the other day we looked at a recipe for tuna casserole that called for 10 ounces of cream of chicken soup for every 3 cups of elbow pasta. So 10 ounces to 3 cups. First, draw a double number line diagram that represents the amount of soup and pasta in different sized batches. So you're going to need your ruler again. Let's draw 1, 2, and we'll label the top line ounces of soup. Start with 0. And the second line we can name cups of pasta. So in one batch, and this time I'm going to use my ruler to help me make tick marks. So I'm going to make them at every inch. So in our first batch, we would have 10 ounces in 3 cups. And then we'd have 20 and 6. You can see we're counting by tens on the top number line. So 30, 40, 50, 60. And we're counting by 3s down here. So 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and 18. All right, so we made our double number line. It says, if you made a large amount of tuna casserole by mixing 40 ounces of soup with 15 cups of pasta, would it taste the same? So let's look to see. If we have 40 ounces, we would need 12 cups. That does not match our ratio here, so it would not taste the same. And they are not equivalent ratios. And we can prove that mathematically. So 10 times 4, but it's 4 times 5 over here. So because those are different, they are not equivalent ratios. Okay, I'm going to slide this up a little bit. So the original recipe asked for 6 ounces of tuna for every 3 cups of pasta. Add a line to your diagram to represent the amount of tuna in different batches. So we need to add a third number line in here. I'm going to squeeze it right in the middle here. And we can label this one ounces of tuna. So it says 6 ounces of tuna for 3 cups of pasta. So 3 cups of pasta, we can add in our tick mark here, 6. I'm going to add in all of my tick marks. So we're counting by 6s. 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36. Alrighty. So how many ounces of soup should you mix with 30 ounces of tuna? So if we have 30 ounces of tuna, they want to know how much soup we would need. So we found 30 ounces of tuna. So we would need 50 ounces of soup. And they didn't ask for it, but let's include that we would also need 15 cups of pasta. Okay, when you're ready, you can flip the page. And we're on to our lesson summary. So let's look at a couple important things here in our summary. So first of all, a couple guidelines for drawing a double number line. Okay, first of all, 2 parallel lines should have labels that describe. Okay, see how these have labels. Tick marks should be equally spaced. Remember, you can use your ruler to help you equally space those. And the numbers that line up vertically are equivalent ratios. So these are equivalent, etc. down the line. One more really important thing is that the word per means for each. So if you ever see something asked per, remember that this means for each, or the amount for one. So if it ever says per cups, that means for 1 cup. Okay, when you're ready, you can show the substitute your notes, and they will give you the practice problems to get started on for tonight. I will be back tomorrow if you have any questions.